Individualized learning plans have become almost a requirement in modern schools over the past few years, with almost every student obliged to have them. When I went to school, we would have elective classes, but it was far more important that we followed the curriculum and learned everything we were supposed to in order to achieve what was regarded as a well-rounded education. It wasn't until I went to college and university that I could specialize and focus on certain topics that I was interested in. As a result, then my higher education transcript tended to look very lopsided from an outside perspective, and would probably have made my old high school teachers very worried that I wasn't being broad enough in my education. The interesting thing is that as I get older, I often find my interests broadening out rather than narrowing, and I will often spend time pursuing interests that have nothing to do with my chosen field and career simply because they are interesting. I think sometimes it can be a generational issue when it comes to middle-aged and older officials designing curriculum for younger students and wondering why the students don't appreciate all the time in school spent studying the lesser Greek poets, when that is only what the officials think the young people should be interested in, since also the officials are using their own experience as the template for a well-rounded education. An individual learning plan is meant to counterbalance this. It's obvious that no two students will be at the same place at the beginning of any school year, and initial assessment needs to determine what are the gaps in their knowledge and skills. But how that assessment should be conducted and what exactly it is assessing is tricky. If we're assessing skills rather than knowledge, as I've argued out before, then the assessment of skills can be done in a variety of ways. One possible way of doing it is to engage the students in some kind of game or situational environment where their individual decisions lead to a total score. As they progress through the situation, the game or situation keeps track of different numeric and gives them an overall score of how they went. Another way is to have students engaged in a shared or group activity and then assess each other at the end. This doesn't have to be competitive, although it can be if that was important to bring about certain assessable behaviours. Another possibility is for students to self-assess. This is probably a good thing to do in conjunction with another more objective assessment method, so that learners can see and understand how assessments are made, and they can learn how to better self-assess over time, and it helps them to develop critical evaluation and reflection skills so that they can accurately judge their own performance and improve over time. When I was in high school trying to learn how to write essays, I often had no idea what they were looking for, and only got better at it in my later years at university after I'd gotten over the habit of cobbling, that is, cutting and pasting my notes into what I hoped was a coherent flow of thought, if not particularly a good argument. It's rare in this initial assessment, especially at the beginning of school, that a learner is asked what they want to do or what they're interested in. It's true that most people have no idea what they want to do, having not experienced much of life at that stage and have no idea about how the wider world works and what jobs entail. Just as an aside, I think this is a further argument for pursuing skills, since as a learner discovers the skills that they enjoy using, such as communication, problem solving, creating, etc., then they can much more easily find different areas in which to apply those skills and determine where best they enjoy using them. I'm a strong advocate of project-based learning, simply because it provides a good context for learning both skills and knowledge and readily understandable pathway for knowing where the learning is going through the life of a project, as well as providing a built-in feedback system through working with others and outside assessors in the community. Using projects as a learning pathway also allows the learners to find some intrinsic motivation in utilizing their skills for something that they care about improving, or even are just interested in as an experiment. In this way, learning even minor science or maths concepts as they apply to an event that they can see or touch may help them to make connections as to how science, maths, English, and other topics are involved in all aspects of life. In using projects to determine a learning pathway, then, it's necessary to determine what skills each project might need and what a learner might need to learn in order to accomplish that. Therefore, a rubric of skills and knowledge can be created based on what is necessary for each project, and as the individual learner has experience in demonstrating those skills, they can be assessed on them. Again, The assessment may be peer review or self-review, or it could be in the form of a one-on-one interview or demonstration by the learner to the teacher, who would then ask them to show their solution or idea and explain how it works. In this way, the skills that they need to demonstrate will be listed as part of the curriculum, but wouldn't be tied down to one assessment method, and most importantly, wouldn't be tied down to one context, such as writing an essay or giving a presentation. A teacher and learner could work together to work out the best way to demonstrate that they have learned something, and if they can prove that they have done it, then they should get a passing grade. The idea of collaboration and innovation could then be incorporated into the whole curriculum, including into the teaching practice itself, so that teachers should be able to work together to determine what are the best ways to assess and teach different learners, and then record that they have mastered particular skills. Showing someone a possible progression of skills or a pathway, especially if it is a demonstration of skills just slightly more advanced than where they are at now, is a great way to keep someone motivated. It's an example of, here's what you can do now, but look, if you wanted to, then you could learn how to do this. Let's see what it looks like and how to do it in different situations. This is called scaffolding, and video games do it all the time in the form of skills and technology trees, where people get more advanced weapons and equipment and then learn how to use them in increasingly difficult scenarios. You let the learner explore things themselves at their own pace and allow them to fail until they feel comfortable and competent. This allows learners to own their own learning and make it a part of their identity in a way that doesn't feel forced on them from outside. That's something I wish they taught me at school.